Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It's August 29th. It is 8:42 a.m. Let's get into the recap of what happened, and we'll go about like what I'm seeing in the market. And let's begin. Let's go right into the daily charts. Alrighty. So obviously everybody knows what we did on Friday after Jackson Hole. Powell's comments were very hawkish. Talked about pain, and that came into a major sell-off. Okay, everybody knows that. This is nothing, no breaking news here, but that's what happened, right? And so I just got the SPX daily chart out here, and what did happen that day is we did start to move higher initially off that news, and then reality set in. Initially, actually, it went down, then we went higher to highs, and then we sold off hard. Okay, so where did we go in the SPX? So I drew fibs from the lows to the recent highs where we hit the 200 MA. And so you notice that the 38.2 fib, the 100-day moving average, which is here, okay, that's kind of where we found support at the 38.2 Fibonacci on the cash market, the close on the SPX. We continued to fall further after hours, but that's where we found support during the real trading hour session. Okay, let's look at the SPY just so we can get a view of the SPY. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to the SPY. We're going to see a similar story. Okay, 38.2 fib, 100-day moving average. Okay, a nice trend line here we also hit that found resistance, right? Get the picture there. All right, let's move over to the NDX. All right, you know what? We'll just move over to the Qs. I think it's NDX maybe can confuse people with some of the levels if you don't trade futures. So NDX, a little different story. NDX was a little weaker. It crossed the 38.2 fib, hit the 100-day moving average here. So it fell a little farther. Okay, then tech fell farther. Get the picture. There's not much news breaking stuff I'm showing you here. I'm just showing you where we're at in levels as far as the close. Okay, so let's look over at my trusty friend TNX, the 10-year yield, right? Now, I've talked about this previously, that it could be a leading indicator. And a short review of that which is very interesting. Okay, so on now the S&P put a low on June 16th. Okay, June 16th. Look at the 10-year yield. It put the high on June 14th. The high was put in June 14th, and we already started buying bonds on June 15th, followed by June 16th, and then look what happened. It fell, right? This kind of predicted the rise in equities before we got the bottom, right? Pretty cool. So the TNX is not something you want to trade and use it for intraday trades. It should be used only as a zoomed out macro trade. But it is a very much bond markets are leading indicators. Okay, let's go with what just happened, right? Check this out. What happened here in the bond market? The yields have been rising, okay, since August 2nd. So the bond markets were telling us might be pricing in something, right? Bond yields rise, that's bad for tech stocks and just equities in general. Okay, so bond markets were telling us as they were rising, something was changing, right? So what just happened? We sold off, right? Kind of a leading indicator. The TNX kind of showed its hand, right? Interesting though, and I was having a discussion with one of my good friends, and I was saying, did you notice on Friday the TNX with this big sell off didn't rise? It actually fell. It didn't really budge. Now, I can't say for absolute certainty what that means, but what that does mean maybe is it's telling us that we priced in the yields already, and maybe we don't fall off a cliff. Now, this could change, but it is important key information here. You would expect the bond yields to rise with that big sell off, and it didn't. Bond markets tell you kind of before equities do anything, right? So it's good to just look at that all the time. Okay, I thought it's very interesting to look at that. They kind of give you a little future crystal ballish, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, so that's something everybody should really look at, but don't use it as an indicator to trade intraday or one day. It's more or less a macro thing. Okay, thought that was very cool. All right, now before we get into the future market profile, what I'm looking at, because like there's not much to glean from it, we all know what happened. One key thing too in the futures, let's look at the futures. Okay, so in the ES futures, if you noticed, very easy to see it. Look what's happening. We hit the 50-day moving average in futures. We're bouncing right off of it. This is expected. Okay, what's happening, right? Well, you hit that part, people are going to take profits. So when we gap down overnight, we opened up, we gapped down about 1%. As soon as you hit that, people are going to just take profits. That's going to be a target. Okay, so shorts took profits. I'm not saying squeezed, but they took profits, right? What could happen from here? I don't know, but we could balance from here, right? It's a key level. 50-day moving average is a key level. So that's what's happening. Now, if you look at the Qs or the Nasdaq futures, right? Not as clean. Okay, here's the 50 moving average. We're kind of under it, but S&P is kind of, it's kind of same story. But yes, is it not as on it as clean as the S&P? No, but we're getting some buying right now. Okay, this is nothing earth shattering. It's just how the market works, right? So why don't we move into the futures? Okay, so we can take a look at things. So why don't we do that? All right, so let's look at ES. Okay, huge sell off, right? Okay, then we gap down. All right, now we got like a beautiful bell curve, how I always talk about. So this is a picture perfect distribution overnight. Very balanced, very balanced. Okay, no one's winning. It's just trading is happening in here. Okay, so gapping down. Tried to go lower. Found some buyers down here in this demand zone. It's kind of a waiting see. I can't really. There's not a lot to look for, but I'm gonna say for some levels to look at. Okay, so we're gapping down. It kind of like waiting for the market to show us today. Is it gonna be more sellers coming in? Are we gonna balance? What are we gonna do? We fell almost I think 3.5% in the S&P and like almost 4% in the Nasdaq. That's a huge move. Can we fall further? Yes. Is there a reason to short right now? No. The risk to reward doesn't make sense. You can do it. You can do it. And if you get paid, it's not like I'm going to be proud of you, because the risk reward is not great. Okay. So we have a lot of structure up here that was just selling, 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 selling. We had a couple of volume distributions here, but it was really selling. Longs got liquidated. They got crushed. Okay. So key is today, just to see if we can fill this gap, and really how far can we go into the gap for the bulls, right? And then it's really, if we can't fill the gap, if we fail, and we kind of can't, how far do we fall? Okay, that's going to tell us a lot of what's going to happen today. So a lot of what I'm saying is kind of like, I need to see more information from the market. Okay, let's look at the Nasdaq. Okay, the Nasdaq. Okay, similar situation. Again, we got the lows here. We actually came up to here in the overnight. Okay, so that's the key for today. All right, we want to see, again, in the NQ, can we fill the gap? How far do we go back into range will tell us something. Okay, if we can't fill the gap and we come back down, that also tells us, okay, these prices, we might start building value down here. You might start to balance. Okay, so we have to see. This is all for me right now, how I look at the market. It's not like clear, like, okay, this is what's happening today. It's not. I need more information. We just made a huge move down. Okay, so I'm not someone who just wants to tell you bearish, 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 bullish, bullish, bullish. I want to go and look at the measuring sticks I was just showing you. Okay, that's what I want to look at. Now, one thing I want to point out, and that I've pointed out in many of my videos of how the market works, and you'll very clearly see it on this chart that I always love to show. Okay, I've pointed it out plenty of times. All right, the most traded price of the year here, this hot pink line. I said to many of you over the last couple of weeks that we're going to make a big move up or down from this level, and we did. We broke it, we went below it, and we made a huge move lower. Okay, so the way the market works, we made a huge move lower. Now, are we going to make balance again here? And are we going to balance here? Are we going to balance here for this week? And from here, we will either go back to this level, or I can see us, there's a big level 38.57 here, which is the, what is that, would be, we're in August, this is July's most traded price down here. So let's just make a thing here. Or are we going to go here? So that's what I'm, I don't know this, but if this starts to build out here, then we know, okay, this is a new balance area, and a move's coming again. Okay, a move's coming again. We'll have to see, right? Let's look at the Nasdaq. I think we might see a similar situation, right? Nasdaq, here we go. Most traded price of the year. Made a move. Are we going to balance here? right? Here's a big level in the Nasdaq lower. Do we go here? Don't know. But let's see what we can do here and balance out. All right. Huge level was broken. Huge. Okay, that's why that move was so big. Coiled up energy made a big move, right? Okay. So let's look at the 60-minute futures charts. Okay. Now, got some key levels to show you guys. All right. And some of these are obvious, you know. So, huge selling from a supply zone up here. Cracked this big level, the 4122 level. And then we started to hold value below it. We started to accept it. And then I got short in a couple of trades that I had put on here. And now we're here. Okay. So pattern wise, obviously, this is not hard to see. We have a bear flag here. Okay, but we made just a monster move. I mean, huge. So I'm taking that with a grain of salt, that pattern, but that is the pattern there. So we have some supply up here, okay, in the overnight. We already came into it right here and caught some sellers. But we're kind of building value out here right now. All right, so key level for me right now is this 40, 15, 25. Got a lot of support here. I mean, just a lot. If that breaks, yeah, that's going to be a pretty big level to break. Okay. Now, of course, if we can get out of this supply zone and break it and maybe fill the gap, and maybe we move up here and balance a little bit, I don't know, right? But that's just a big level, 40, 15, 25. Okay. Let's look at the Nasdaq. Okay, as far as the Nasdaq goes, we got two levels here. Two levels here for support. All right, the pattern is going to be the same as I told you before. The bear flag pattern came into supply, caught sellers here, and we just got destroyed. So let's look at the support levels here. We got 12433, and we got 12406. Okay, those are the support levels, and we got a demand zone here that could be supportive. If they break, I'm not sure if they will, we're going to get some farther downside. Okay, but we are balancing here. I mean, making a balancing range here, so that's going to make it tough to just cut unless we just get monster selling today. Now, I told you about the 50-day moving average. Some people, that might have been the target. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. We could go into the market profile, and I'll just kind of rehash some of the things I've said. There's not tons of stuff to look at because we just fell so far. Okay, so really quickly, 4026 is our level right now in the ES. We're gapping lower. Okay, so what you want to see right now, like I said, is this is key. Do we fill the gap? Do we fill that gap? Okay, most traded price is down here at about 40.50. So what could happen today if we get some buyers? I don't know. I don't have confidence today in scenarios. It's just I have confidence in my scenarios if they happen. I can't tell you the highest probability one. Okay, so this is what I could see happening. If we if we open, I think sellers might come in. Then I think if the buyers are going to do some move here, they're going to come up here, and I think we hold in this supply zone. And I think if we fill the gap, we'll probably find some selling. And if we can hold and break this most traded price, I think we possibly could go to 40.81, and then maybe we balance. Okay. Now there's single prints here, and this is market profile talk. Single prints just show you emotional selling or emotional buying, and usually they don't have much support or resistance there. Okay. The only thing is the most traded price was at the lows. So these shorts here that got poor location because they're shorting at the bottom of the range, okay, they can get squeezed. And again, I'm not saying this is very likely or anything. It's just what could happen and what will happen if that happens, because they will cover. Okay. Another scenario. We can open here, come down. I think we come up, fill the gap, find sellers again, and I think we can come down to here and balance. So that's more or less shorts get squeezed overnight, these shorts, and we fill the gap and we can't go farther into range. Sellers are still present. Okay. And then the most bearish of all. Okay. Again, these are just my three scenarios. Okay. Is, you know what? Let me make this maybe a blue. Okay. Actually, let's be appropriate and make it more of a red. So I think we can come up here, go to the overnight highs. We can't break the supply zone really. Come down here, hang out a little bit to 40.15, break it, come into this demand zone, and I would say we balance here. Of course, can we fall farther? If we break this level, we can, to the next demand zone at 39.80. So that's kind of what I see. I'm not going to even go into the Nasdaq because the Nasdaq is the same scenario that I see. Same scenario. Now, the one thing I'll point out, okay, now that I gave you those, is if we go back to, if we come back to the SPY, we can even go to the SPY, okay, and I'll show you what I think big picture wise, really quickly, is if we go here. All right, what I'm seeing here is, now the SPY is at 402 right now, okay, but what I see is here important levels here. What do we have here? 398. That is the 50-day moving average, okay. 396 is the 50% retracement Fibonacci. Okay, that's going to be key. That's a very key level. 396.95, called the 397, which is also the 50-day moving average, okay. That will be very supportive. Now, this is what I want to say. This is how you got to look at things. If we hit that and we hold it and we start to bounce off it, balance it, whatever, okay, market's going to digest it, right? But if we cut through it like a hot knife through butter, that's also, oh wow, sellers are strong. Okay, sellers are very strong. So if that happens, if we cut through it like a hot knife through butter, I say the next level to look at is the 61.8 Fib Retracement Level. That's 388.74, call it 389. Okay, 389. We have support here we also have a trend line from the lows right here to act as support. So that 389 area is very key, where we could, if it really gets ugly, I think we find support there. Okay, let's look at the Qs really quickly. I'll give you some levels there. All right, let's look at the Qs. Okay, so 50% retracement level in the Qs is 301.85, called 302. That's the 50 million moving average is 303. Okay. We also on the Qs have a little bit of a higher trend line. Okay, you can see the trend line right here, and that comes in at, let's see what that comes in at. That comes in at 297, called 298. That could be very supportive. Okay. And lastly, the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level is 294.16, called 294. Also lines up previous support here. Okay. So Qs, we got 302, 50% retracement Fibonacci level, 50-day moving average. Then we have 294, which is a 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. And then we have the trend line. The trend line comes in at 297, called 298. So that's what I feel supportive in the Qs. Okay, just gave you that. I wanted to give you that because today the granular of the macro of the market profile, I need to see more information to really feel what's going on right now. Okay, so wish everybody good luck today. I'm definitely going to be watching the market very closely to see what happens. And please comment, subscribe, give me a like. That'd be much appreciated. Okay, and good luck to everyone today.